Welcome to this explainer. Look, passing down a family business, it is, without a doubt, a high-stakes, emotionally charged challenge. When you're dealing with a lifetime of blood, sweat, and tears, succession planning can bring up some massive feelings and serious financial worries. But today, we're going to look closely at how mediation can actually rescue your succession planning efforts from total gridlock.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover the succession planning challenge, look at mediation versus litigation, walk through the 6-step mediation process, check out some real Kansas case studies, and finally, get you prepared for your own transition. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the succession planning challenge, big feelings and money worries. Let me just ask you directly right now, how are you stuck? Are you maybe dealing with an older generation who's just terrified to step aside, gripping the steering wheel tight because they're afraid of losing their purpose? Or, on the flip side, are you the younger generation feeling completely ignored, like your innovative ideas to grow the business just go in one ear and out the other? These are not just business disagreements, right? They're deeply personal family conflicts that can stall a transition for literally years.
Well, here's the crucial point. Mediation is absolutely not about someone forcing a decision down your throat. Think of it as a highly flexible process where a neutral third party steps in to help your family actually communicate. They help you find common ground so you can agree on your own solutions. It's essentially a guided, safe space designed to protect both your business and your family relationships without tearing each other apart. Moving right along to Section 2, mediation versus litigation, protecting your legacy. There is such a sharp contrast here. It's really about retaining control of your family's destiny versus handing the keys over to a total stranger. Just look at litigation. It's a matter of public court record, it shatters trust, it costs an absolute fortune, and at the end of the day, a judge dictates what happens to you. But mediation, it is entirely private. It protects those precious family ties, saves you serious money, and best of all, you and your family actually control the final outcome.
And because of that strict confidentiality, you completely bypass the destructive nature of lawsuits. Nobody wants community rumors damaging a business's hard-earned reputation, especially in a small town or a tight-knit industry, right? Plus, since it focuses so heavily on relationship preservation, you might literally leave the table with a stronger family bond than when you first sat down. It's a real game changer.
Okay, let's get into Section 3, the 6-step mediation process, a structured path.
To keep all those big emotions from totally derailing your progress, the whole thing actually unfolds in 6 very predictable steps. First up, planning out the logistics, followed by the mediator's introduction to set some firm ground rules. Then, everybody gets a turn for uninterrupted opening remarks. After that, we move into a joint discussion to really hash out your needs, use private caucuses if things get a bit tense, and finally, step into the actual negotiation phase.
Now, I want to pause on Step 5 for just a second. Caucuses. If talks get too heated during that joint discussion, the mediator will use a caucus to speak with you privately. This is huge. It lets you vent and kind of reframe all those negative emotions without blowing up the whole process. And the mediator won't share a word of what you say with the other side unless you give them the absolute green light. So it's your strategic safe space.
But, hey, while the process itself might feel pretty relaxed and collaborative, make no mistake, once everyone actually signs that final written settlement, it becomes a legally binding and enforceable contract that secures your future. The law treats it just like any other signed contract, which is exactly why it's highly recommended you have your own attorney review the terms before you sign on the dotted line.
Let's look at some real-world examples in Section 4, real Kansas case studies, successes and pitfalls. In our first success story, an aging farm founder used these private mediation sessions to safely express his really deep fear of losing his legacy. He literally said, "I was afraid everything I built would fade away." By getting that out in the open in a neutral setting, his sons finally understood his resistance, and in turn, they were able to voice their own needs for trust and bringing in some modernization.
Comparing these two cases really highlights how this works in practice. The Kansas farm success tackled those underlying fears head-on, creating this beautiful, phased 5-year handover and completely rebuilding family trust. Now contrast that with a retail business failure. In that one, siblings showed up with stubborn, fixed demands, treated the whole thing like a courtroom brawl to be won, and critically, they left influential spouses completely out of the room. It just proves that mediation only works if you show up genuinely ready to collaborate and make sure every key voice is actually at the table.
All right, bringing it home with Section 5, preparing for your transition, actionable next steps.
Before you even think about scheduling a session, you've got to run through this checklist. You really need to look past your initial demands and figure out what you truly need to feel secure. Oh, and gather the hard data, your financial and business records to back up your vision. But above all else, you have to commit to listening in good faith. You've got to walk into that room actually wanting to solve the problem.
You also need to find the right guide for this journey. Obviously, finding a mediator who is neutral and has strong facilitation skills is great, but they also absolutely must have the patience and composure to handle the massive power dynamics that are unique to your specific family. And honestly, subject matter experience, like knowing Kansas law and family business dynamics, is an absolute must to navigate these particular waters.
Now, the work definitely doesn't stop just because the ink is dry. Even after the agreement is signed, you've got to implement a solid post-mediation strategy. Write down the agreed actions, assign specific roles, and, this is key, schedule regular check-in meetings. This helps monitor progress and handles any future conflicts before they snowball out of control. It basically normalizes healthy conflict resolution within your company culture.
Look, succession doesn't have to be an ending. If you approach it with the right tools, it's really just the collaborative evolution of everything you've built. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to collaborate and evolve your family's legacy? Start preparing today, get the right people in the room, and take control of your future. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll catch you next time.